Hi guys, in this video I'm going to try and sculpt a medieval style siege catapult using some Fimo and some old beer mats.
Scruffy Crow.
Okay, so I'm going to be using Fimo because it gives me the chance to work on it for as long as I want. It also works out a bit cheaper for bulking things out than green stuff, and the main reason is what I had to hand. Same with the beer mats, what I had to hand. What I've done here is this is the base that it's going to be on, a 50 by 100 MDF base that I'm currently sealing with a bit of PVA. And what I've done to start with is I've made a little template. So this is about the length that I want my catapult, but I know that the boundary of it can't exceed this template. That's going to include the wheels. So then I can draw out kind of what I want. So I want some wheels, stuff like that. I want a sort of crank arm over here, with a wheel. So the main part, I probably only want it to be that kind of thing, and then I want a spring arm down this end. We need the catapult arm going down the middle, and then we need like a stop. Stops it. Oh no, so the spring arm needs to be over there. Spring arm, and then a stop arm. And to put the design in, I'm going to be using this sculpting tool. Mostly this spoon end, because this is what I prefer using for pretty much all sculpting. And then it's got a sharp end as well that I can use for any detailing, like the wood grain that I'll be doing. So I've laid out the base layer. So I've just tried to get the Fimo into these sort of square shapes, roughly the size I need. I think that's looking quite good. And then on this one, this is going to be my arm here, so I've actually made it sort of slightly tapered. And then these, I'm just going to make generic planks for now. I'm just going to sort of build the catapult up out of separate planks. So I just need to do some wheels. I'm going to do the wood grain effect on this piece, just like I have with these ones, which is really just by dragging lines through the clay. Alright, now I'm working on a wheel. So I've just got a blob of putty and I have rolled it out, squished it into a rough circle, and I've taken the smooth end of this and sort of started to smooth it out and get rid of all those fingerprints. Okay, once I got that as smooth as I wanted, I've drawn these two big wide lines, and they're going to be the planks. And then I've put in the final lines to represent the wood grain. And now I'm going to take this snake of putty and wrap it around the outside, something a bit like that. So now I'm going to flatten the edges out. Okay, my catapult has spent a little bit of time in the oven, and I've peeled all the parts off the beer mats. So they can go in the bin now. I've trimmed the excess off the top of this wheel with a knife, and I've also given it a bit of a file down, so the rim and the hub are nice and flat, and it's looking pretty cool. The back looks like a pork pie, but no one's ever going to see that, I don't think. That's a flat pork pie. This is the arm, so that's going to attach in there. None of these bits are attached at the moment. This is what my planks look like when I've pulled them off the board. Obviously they're not detailed on the backs. That's the Sharpie marks. What I'm doing is I'm just cutting off the excess from where I've moulded them. So I'm going to build my crossbar now. So I'm going to make a cut on this end at the point where the wood looks good. And then I'm going to make another cut a little bit in from the edge there. That's going to be my crossbar. I'm going to trim a little bit more off because I'm going to want to put detail on these edges, so I'm going to want a little bit of give. So for this one I'm going to make 2 uprights. So I need to work out how I want it all to look. So that goes. Okay, so that's my main arm. There's my cross post, so I need that to go thunk, like that. So I probably want this about yay high. So I've decided on this sort of length, so it's going to look something along those lines. There's my uprights glued on. Now a little dab of glue on each of those. And hopefully this will be nice and level. This stuff takes the glue really well. So the moment you place that down, you actually get quite a good bond. Actually, we also need some braces, because all the ones I've looked at have had braces across here. There we have it. So I've cut that to shape, and hopefully that should fit in there like that. So I'll make another one the same as this. So I need to detail out all the insides of these planks. I'll maybe not bother with the bottom. And then I need 3 more, I'll probably make 4 to make them all match, of these wheels. So they all match and are all the same size. Also taking this opportunity, I've got my glue out and I'm up here to glue these 2 toothpicks across the bottom. And that means I can make some axle strapping and make sure everything looks right. And that's what my wheel looks like on one of the little axles. Okay, so I've made this pretty simple push cast of the one wheel that I made. And this wheel was made with a mixture of green stuff and milliput on a previous cast, but it didn't come out as nicely. This one is just green stuff, just because that's easier to hand. So I'm going to see how that one comes out. I'm going to make some more wheels. So these are cast in, these are just pure milliput, made in an Instamold mould. So a mould a bit like this, reusable. I've used this stuff before in other videos. And so because of the way I made the mould, they're all flared out at the backs. But I've got the detail captured off the front. So I'm going to start by drilling a hole through the middle. So my axles are made of the same cocktail sticks that I'm using for everything else, and this drill bit, I am aware, is the same thickness as my cocktail sticks, which is handy. Okay, so my next job is going to be to carve down the sides. So this is the original, actually, made out of the Fimo. We're just going to carve these more or less flat. Doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. Now this is the advantage of milliput over green stuff. You can actually carve it like this and it stays nice and rigid. And then I'm going to use this sandpaper. I'm just going to go around and get a nice flat surface on all the sides. One tip I will say is actually I don't tend to, or at least I try and avoid using metal files for milliput, because it really quickly coats anything like that. And it's really hard to clean it back off your files. They're basically a write-off. With these, it only costs 10p or whatever, so I can just keep replacing these. But I don't like having to keep replacing my files. All right, I'm keen to get this finished up a little bit. So here is the base of the catapult. There's still some bits that are not cured yet. I made these discs a while back, so these bits are cured. And I think I'm going to glue these on. And I've sanded these down a little bit so they're nice and flat. The sides here, so just a little dab of glue, that's all you need. Lined up. And I want 2 lengths about as long as those discs that I just put on. Alright, now I'm going to just smarten those up a bit. And I find constructing complex things like this way more easy than trying to get it all sculpted at once. And this super glue and the wood will all hold up when it goes back in the oven to cure the last few details. Sorry, Fimo. So I'm rolling out a little bit more on my Fimo, some more small sausages. And we want it to be a similar thickness as my sort of big cord in there. And I'm just going to loop these over the edge and sculpt them down. So they're just looped over the edge like that, and I'll just sculpt them down on all the sides. And I think that's going to be fine. That's going to be enough, I think, for my winding gear. This doesn't need to be super detailed. So we're almost there. This is the last few Fimo details. So we've got the edges of the winders, and I've smoothed those in now. And the other thing I've added is these two caps on here. So I've sort of tried to flatten that off on the all sides, try and make it look like they're sort of beaten metal. We don't want it to be too perfect. If I wanted it to be spot on perfect, I'd have waited until I'd cured everything else and I'd have made them out of card or plastic. But I kind of want this sort of moulded on look. But what we need to do is I'm going to make some studs. So I'm going to start by pushing the lead back inside this pencil. I'm just going to wet the end a little bit and then just poke it in. And there's my studs. I'm going to do 4 on each side like this. Alright, so there he is after the final bake. This is all nice and hard now. Everything's looking quite good. I've just popped the wheels on. They've gone on the axles quite nicely. And I have glued it onto its base. And here he is next to a dwarven crew. Yeah, I am happy with that. So this hole in the front here, that has been put there to be prepared for one of these shields that I've painted up for the rest of my army. So I'll add that when I've finished painting the rest. Okay, so the catapult now has winders. So they'll be operated by my dwarves with their little spanners, or massive spanners. So I think best thing now to do would probably just get an undercoat on this guy. And here we have the catapult all painted up. Fairly simple paint scheme. Just my sort of wood, my leather colour that I use, and some metal there. Just those 3 sets of colours. And I think that looks pretty cool. I think it at least looks as good as some of the shop bought catapults on the market. But if I was making a second one or doing this again, there's definitely a few things I'd change. I'm not 100% happy with the way this sort of twisted parts come out. I think that's I'd probably send it off to an angle. And I could probably do a slightly better job there. And just a couple of little bits and pieces I'd probably do slightly differently if I redid this. But that is adequate. So the next job, now this guy's finished, is going to be to make some crew. So that'll be in a separate video, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll be converting, well, this guy's already kind of converted, so I'll be converting the other 3 of these guys. And that's all for this video. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments, maybe subscribe for more, and as ever, thanks for watching, bye!